Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sitting at the top of a big red fun bus, which is the X3 coming back from Papworth Hospital. And I've got a new machine, which I've got to strap myself up to this evening because it's going to take measurements of my breathing and of my blood oxygen levels overnight. And then I've got to come back on the big red blue bus tomorrow afternoon to get the doctor to analyse the results. The bus out here actually was all right. It's one of the new Whippet ones, but this one really is one of the skanky chunk mobiles that they must have got off somebody else or have just used for absolutely ages and just not got round to replacing it. So anyone who lives outside Cambridge and has to either drive as the bus driver does or is dependent on one of these buses, you have my sympathies. And, you know, such is the way with our disintegrated transport system that because there are two different bus operators that run services in and around Cambridge, or certainly more than one, and because the ticketing isn't integrated, I've had to pay twice as much to get out here. So I had to pay just under a £5 to get into town and then another £5 on top of that just to get out here and all the way back. We had some fun and games last night, if you can call it that, at the Cambridge Cycling Campaign meeting. I actually thought Francis Burkett, the councillor for Coton, who is now the representative for South Cambridgeshire District Council on the City Deal Board, I thought he made a pretty good go of it, of, if anything, trying to resell the City Deal to an audience that is now just has become quite sceptical of the whole process, you know, myself included, because I'm one of the I've been following the process for quite some time now, and I've always said they got the sequencing and the processes wrong, where really they should have started with a blank sheet of paper rather than kind of like going in with, you know, the ideas for, you know, what may well turn out to be underused bus lanes, which, you know, when it came under kind of like detailed scrutiny from quite a few of us, was found to be wanting. So it'll be interesting to see, certainly from my point of view, I think it's going to be interesting to see what impact Councillor Burkett makes, in particular because he's got his own views and own plans on not just his patch in Coton, but I think in terms of, I think he's recognised that they got some things wrong and they alienated groups of people who perhaps could have been and may still prove to be the City Deal's biggest champions, because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I want it to work. You know, I don't want it to be a mess. You know, even though bad news seems to sell newspaper headlines, I actually want this thing to work. I'd love, at the end of it, in 10 years' time, for example, to have that second Adam Brooks railway station, to have that rail link that links Cambridge to places like Haverhill, to Wisbech, and, you know, even to here where we are now, which is Cambourne. I haven't actually, today was actually the first time I've actually driven through the place, and you can, kind of in a strange way, I mean, this part is better than had been publicised. I think the big thing that's lacking here, and this was a real design flaw at the very, very start, was they didn't put in the kind of like the transport and the community infrastructure that they needed to at the very start to really make it work. But certainly what they've done with this greenfield, if you can see it out the window here, it's actually fairly picturesque. As far as new build estates go. But because there's no rail, sorry, I'll just see if I can get the sun to stop shining in your eyes. Because there's no rail link here, and because of the fun and games with all of the traffic that comes out of West Cambridge anyway, trying to commute in from Cambourne to Cambridge, to where the various employers like to be, is tough going. And, you know, for me, until that bit is rectified, I think it's always going to be a problem. And again, I think this is one of the reasons why it's ever so important to get those public transport routes, in particular, for me, the non-bus routes, the stuff that just doesn't involve the internal combustion engine. It's so important to get those right. Because one of the other things that I actually noticed when I stepped off the bus in Papworth, just before my appointment there, was just how much better the air quality is compared to central Cambridge. I guess in a way it just shows that I haven't been getting out much of Cambridge or London in recent times. So the only air quality I'm used to is that of central Cambridge or that of central London. So, kind of like in the grand scheme of things, I don't really notice the difference, other than when I was living and working in London. One of the things that the air quality does in London, in particular if you use the tube, is it turns your snots black. Yeah, it's quite skanky when when you kind of like blowing your nose and kind of like it's just like it's covered in soot. And okay, things got a little better when I got back to Cambridge, but every day down Cherry Hinton Road and Hills Road, and all of the routes leading out of central Cambridge during the morning and during the evenings, it's just absolutely jam packed with traffic, and no wonder the air quality in Cambridge is so bad. I wonder if the technological experts in the city have ever thought, right, okay, what are we going to do about it? Is it something that use extra machines to suck in good air and process out the bad air, or is it just a case of look guys, stop using your cars and diesel spewing lorries? And it kind of reminds me of the visit that I paid to the waste recycling centre, and just the news that the Waterbeach Recycling Centre is processing waste from the Isle of Wight that is transported from the Isle of Wight to Cambridgeshire by road, which does my head in. I mean, how the hell does that make sense? So, it's one of those things where have we got our public infrastructure, our civic infrastructure in the right place? And, clearly there's an example that the Isle of Wight, obviously needs something. Can we rely on the market to deliver it? You can understand why I'm sceptical. Anyway, we're on our way back on the Big Red Fun Bus to Cambridge, and I've never really got my head around the road layout between Cambridge and Camborne. I'm sure there's a logic to it, but nobody seems to have explained it to me. So yeah. Anyway, later on this evening, there's going to be another exhibition of the proposed cycling routes, again with the Cambridge City deal, so it's kind of like third public meeting in 3 days. So yeah, I'm going to be appealing for financial support at some stage from all of you who watch these videos, because I need to pay my bills, so I shall have you leave you.